Hello everyone, Michael Offiero here. I am having a little trouble with Screencast-O-Matic right now. I cannot find my drawing tool. I don't know where it is, and I do like to draw on the weather maps, but it looks like I'm going to have to do this recording without the drawing tool. Um, Hold on a second. I don't want to use the NAM. I want to use the GFS. Okay. So it's been a while since I've done a weather video. It's been about 3 years. So for those of you who have watched me before, the way I do these weather videos is I simply go through the weather models and I basically just explain my interpretation of what's going to happen. So for those of you who have been paying attention to the weather in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, I'm sure you know that we are going to have a coastal storm Wednesday into Wednesday night and into early Thursday in some places, and there is the potential for some significant snowfall. All right, so we are 3 days out, so I'm not posting an accumulation map today. That will be done on Tuesday, which will be my next weather video. Today is Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, December the 13th. So we are pretty much going into the short range as of today. And so I feel comfortable using the GFS. The GFS is a deterministic model. When you're in the medium and long range, you typically want to use ensemble models because those have tons of different initial conditions in the atmosphere and they give you a ton of different solutions to where the storm may go. So that would give you a range of the different tracks that are possible. But because we are so close to the actual event, I do feel comfortable using deterministic models to demonstrate what might happen. So without further ado, let's get to it. So this is the GFS. We are looking at Tuesday evening around 7, 8 o'clock. What we have here is this. I'm going to circle with my mouse because I can't find my drawing tool on here. You have our trough here, the dip in the isobars. That's what indicates that you have a trough, and you have all this vorticity here. That is the piece of energy that will be creating the storm off the coast of the Carolinas late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. And, for those of you who have listened to me, you know that one of the things that I, as well as AccuWeather meteorologist Bernie Rayno, likes to talk about is the tilt of the trough. So, in the beginning, when these pieces of energy, these troughs come on shore in the west and start to make their way through the Midwest, if you want a typical I-95 major snowstorm or blizzard, you want the trough to first be positively tilted so that it digs south into the deep south. And then once it does that, you want it to go neutral and then negative, as negatively tilted as possible, so that your storm is created and then it comes right up the coast into Maine, and you have a very powerful snowstorm along the East Coast. So there are a couple things about this storm that I'm not optimistic about. It is December, so it's very rare to get a textbook blizzard along the I-95 in December, so that's not what's going to happen. However, we still are going to get a pretty good storm out of this, and some places will get significant snow. So the trough starts out, it's positive to neutrally tilted, and then the other thing you have to keep in mind is that there's two different jet streams. There's the polar jet stream up here, and then the subtropical jet stream down here. And again, if you want an I-95 blizzard, you want to see phasing between the two jet streams. You can get blizzards without phasing, but if you want a textbook blizzard, you really want to see two jet streams, the vorticity from here merging with the vorticity from here, so that there's support from the north and it adds, and then you want to see the upper level low close off somewhere off the coast, and that's what gives you a textbook blizzard. That's not going to be happening here. Most of the energy that's creating the storm is going to be from the southern stream, with some contribution from the northern stream, but not much. So anyway, this isn't going to take much explaining because this is pretty straightforward. But as you go forward, you see that the trough becomes more vigorous. This is by Wednesday afternoon, and it is now neutrally tilted. And so at this point, the storm is going to start to form off the coast of the Carolinas. The more vigorous the trough is, though, the more north it will go. Typically, what you see is if the trough is more vigorous, it'll actually dig a little further south, and it will actually end up becoming more negatively tilted, and the storm will typically become more of a nor'easter-esque type of storm. I don't think that's going to be the scenario here. I think this is more of a progressive system since it's mainly southern stream energy. So this is going to be a storm that forms, sort of comes up the coast, and then goes out to sea like that. So New England is spared from this storm, in my opinion. As you go forward here, see now the trough starts to go negative, and that does one of two things. It directs the storm to the north and east like this, and it also allows moisture to come in from the ocean, which will contribute to heavier snowfall in certain areas. So now we're on Wednesday evening. So now your storm is basically around the coast off the Delmarva, and I will show the surface map. Don't worry. And then the trough remains negative. It's very vigorous now. So now you have a powerful storm here around the 40-70 benchmark. That's the latitude and longitude. We call it the benchmark. So it'll be around the benchmark. I don't know if it's going to be a little more inside or outside yet. The track could still change because we're 3 days out, but essentially you're going to have a strong coastal storm off the coast of Long Island and far south of Cape Cod, and you're going to have all this precipitation on the back end. Okay, so what you will notice is there is no closing off of the upper level low. This is a progressive system, so it's not going to be that textbook blizzard, but there will be significant snow. Now I'm going to show the surface map. So let's go to the surface map. So we've done the upper level dynamics, and now we're going to do the surface map. Let me just get rid of these advertisements. By the way, I'm using Pivotal Weather to look at these models. So let's just go forward. That's not the storm we want to look at there. This is the storm here that it forms right off the Carolina coast. We are Wednesday afternoon, so I have to correct myself. I said it was going to form Tuesday night into Wednesday. It'll start to form Wednesday morning, but it doesn't show up on the map until early Wednesday afternoon as this low here. So then what happens is that's going to move to the north and east. So very simply, you see, and as that trough gets more vigorous, as I was talking about, now you're down to 1,000 millibars. So the lower the millibars go, the stronger the storm is. So I'm curious to see how low this goes because there is something called a bomb cyclone, which is I forget if it's 12. I think it's 12. It's either 12 millibars in 24 hours. I think it's 24 millibars in 24 hours. And we're down to 993 from 107. So yeah, this is pretty close to a bomb cyclone. I think it's just gonna fall short. But you see we're down to 992, and what you'll also notice is that we have some strong winds coming into the coast here. Now the problem, as you look at the surface map, is that you're going to see that we have high pressure up here, which means we have cold air advection, which is what we want for a snowstorm, but the problem is that the high is departing at this point in time. So you go back to Wednesday, I misinterpreted this. The high isn't really departing. Or is it? Let me see. No, the high is departing. My mistake. So at the time this storm comes up the coast, the high will be all the way up in Quebec and it will be departing. So that means the cold air is not going to be locked in place per se. If I would be a little more optimistic if this storm was going to happen Tuesday into Tuesday night, because if you go back to Tuesday night, let's go back to Tuesday night. Look where the high is. It's right in southeastern Ontario. If I'm getting my provinces correct there. So if it's right there, the cold air is locked in place. So it would be all snow throughout the Northeast. But because the high is going to be more into Quebec, the cold air is not going to be locked in place. So as this storm comes up the coast, you're going to get warm air trying to intrude on the coastal areas. So it's going to potentially be a rain and snow mix on Long Island, in areas like Long Island and New York City, and then in areas like Philadelphia, most of coastal New Jersey, down into Delaware. You're mainly going to have rain and snow mix and potentially all rain in some areas. So accumulations are definitely going to be down in those areas. In fact, I think most of coastal New Jersey, at least along the, at least southern New Jersey into Delaware, is going to be all rain. DC, you're probably going to be right on the rain and snow line. And same thing with, well, actually, Philadelphia, you're probably going to be far enough inland that you're all snow. But coastal New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, Southern Connecticut, these places are going to have a problem with rain and snow. So that will keep accumulations down there. So, in my opinion, this is a mid-Atlantic inland snowstorm. This is not a New England snowstorm. This is not a coastal snowstorm. This is mainly inland. Okay, so I could show the precipitation map, but I think I'm just going to explain my thoughts, the rest of my thoughts here, because we are at 10 minutes and I don't want this to be too long. So then the other thing to keep in mind is that this is a progressive system. There's no phasing between the jet streams. So with progressive snowstorms, even if there's a lot of moisture, it's very hard to get more than a foot of snow out of these things. So if it snows really, really hard and there's a lot of moisture, certain places are going to get potentially over a foot, but not much more than that. And I looked at the snow accumulation projection from the GFS, and I'm not going to show it because it's really too early to be counting on that. But it is projecting potentially up to 1.5 feet. I think that's a little overdone. I think the inland places, anywhere from I got to look at the precipitation map I am going to show the precipitation map because I have to see where the snow starts because I forgot. So let's just do that quick. This way I can give you an idea. I'm not looking at that storm, I'm looking at this storm. Okay, so you are going to get snow in Virginia. So you're going to see here that it's going to be inland starting in central Virginia, working into central Maryland. So it looks like DC, you actually are going to be all rain. And then Philadelphia, as I said, you are going to be just west of the rain and snow line. But that also depends on the track of the storm. If this comes further north, then the rain and snow line goes further inland. These advertisements will not stop. Oh my God. So anyway, this is a snowstorm for north central Virginia, central Maryland, and then into eastern Pennsylvania, and then into central northern New Jersey, away from the coast, and then into the lower Hudson Valley and southern Connecticut. And yes, you do get snow in New England, but it's not going to be a major snowstorm for you. You're probably not getting more than 6 inches up there. If you want to get up to a foot of snow, it's going to be in this area here in probably not northern central Virginia because you're probably going to be warmer there, but definitely central, eastern Pennsylvania, potentially parts of western New Jersey, parts of Maryland, and then potentially into the lower Hudson Valley. Oops, I just clicked on a QT, I apologize. Which reminds me, that's another point I wanted to bring up anyway, and I keep clicking on it. Jesus. So that is the area. Towards the coast, I'm not seeing much more than 6 to 10 inches, but again, this is going to depend on the track of the storm. If the storm goes further south, then places like Long Island, New York City, and parts of coastal New Jersey could see more snow. Can the storm go further south? Absolutely, but there's also a chance that if the trough is more vigorous, it'll go further north. So something to watch over the next 3 days. Again, I did mention some accumulations, but those are not set in stone. But the main thing to keep in mind is that Wednesday into Thursday morning, we have a major coastal storm, and wind speeds along the coast are going to be strong enough for blizzard conditions. So most of the coastal areas that are going to have those winds are going to be mostly rain, so you wouldn't really be getting a blizzard there. But places like Long Island and New York City, you're going to be getting snow right now if the track of the storm remains consistent. So there is a potential for blizzard conditions in those areas, even though you might get not as much snow as inland Pennsylvania, say for instance. But again, in my opinion, it's going to be hard to get more than a foot of snow, but it is possible depending on how strong the storm is and where it tracks. Okay, so that's all I have to say about that. So keep in mind, this is my first weather video in 3 years. That's why it is so long and drawn out, because I feel like I have to keep explaining myself, so I do apologize for that. But I will post another weather video on Tuesday with an accumulation map. Hopefully, I will be a little more concise than I was today. All right. So just everybody, that COVID is going on right now, and I'm not Anthony Fauci, but um, you know, coming from me, just it's very upsetting to see what's going on, and cases are on the rise where I am in New York right now. So, wear your mask, practice social distancing, wash your hands, do all that stuff because it really does help keep cases down, even though it may not seem like it. So do all those things. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you all. Well, not see you all. I will post another video on Tuesday. All right, take care.